Hello, fellow cycling fans, and welcome to my preview of Paris Roubaix 2025. The Hell of the North is here on Sunday. In this video, I will talk about race profile and map. We're going to check the weather, as the weather can play the crucial ingredient in this year's edition. After that, I will talk about breakaway and possible top teams tactics, and in the end, as always, I will pick my winner of this race while we look at bookmakers' odds. The race is 260 kilometers long, from the small town of Compiègne all the way to the velodrome in Roubaix. We have 30 cobbled sections on the course, going backwards from number 30 all the way to number 1, which is in Roubaix. First 96 kilometers of the race are without cobbles, and that is where we can expect a fierce breakaway battle. These are the 30 cobbled sectors in the race. They total 55.3 kilometers. Out of 30 sectors, 3 are 5-star. That means that they are the hardest. Through d'Arenberg at 164 km from the start, sector 19. Then Monzon-Pével, sector 11, some 50 km from the finish, and sector 4, Carrefour de l'Arbre, some 18 km from the finish. The focal point of the race is the sector Drouet-D'Arenberg. It is literally a passage through the forest. Usually, the cyclists were coming through this sector with a full speed, some 60-70 kilometers per hour. Therefore, the organizers decided to change the parkour near this sector on the entrance. Now we have two chicanes before it, and I expect a fierce battle for the positioning before those two chicanes. This is how the race looks on the map. The riders are going north throughout the day. This is the all-important sector Arenberg, number 19, number 11 Monzon-Pével, and number 4 Carrefour de l'Arbre. Now we need to talk about the weather. I've checked multiple sources and all are saying that there is heavy chance for rain on Sunday morning. You can see here around 1.7 milliliters throughout the night. Also here you can see that in Saturday evening and Sunday morning it's going to rain. This is in Orchy. It is in the middle of those crucial sectors. And if it rains in Orchy, that means that the cobbles will be wet and we have a completely new race to the one we had in previous editions where it was dry. Also, the wind is going to be quite strong on Sunday afternoon, some 20 kilometers per hour with wind gusts up to 38 kilometers per hour from the southwest. So it is not completely tailwind. This is kind of wind that can even create echelons, and that is another factor that we must put into the equation. So if it rains, even only during the night, for sure the cobbles will be slippery, there will be mud on both sides of the road, you can't ride through the dust like it was dry, and with that wind, I think that we can have a complete chaos on Sunday. So what are the tactics from the top teams? There are of course three basic rules. First, avoid crashes. Second, avoid punctures, and if you have punctures, resolve them quickly. And third, positioning, positioning, positioning. It is essential to always be in the front. There will be some fierce battles for every corner, for every entrance in the sector. So let's talk about the breakaway now and why it's all important in a Paris-Roubaix race to get in a breakaway if you are in a smaller team. Well, the breakaway doesn't really have much of a disadvantage in Paris-Roubaix, as on those cobbled sections they go with the same goal throughout the day. 5 to 10 riders, they just want to get to the finishing line as soon as possible. That is their only goal. However, in the peloton you have narrow roads, you can't have an organized chase throughout the day. You have top riders attacking each other. You have crashes, you have punctures. If it rains, you have even more chaos. They wait for their domestiques. They don't want to work with other favorites, etc. A lot of stuff can happen in a peloton while the breakaway just rides their ride. Even if they get caught late in the race, they can still work with the favorites and get to the finishing line with them and secure themselves a good position. Not only that, but being in a breakaway can also help your team leader later in the race. So that is why it is crucial to get in a breakaway. All teams except Alpecin Deceuninck and UAE Team Emirates should try to put at least one rider in the breakaway. Now moving on to team tactics. Who are the team to beat? Well, it's Alpecin Deceuninck. They have Mathieu van der Poel and Jasper Philipsen first and second in two previous editions of Paris Roubaix. They are the team to beat and everyone should be attacking them. With those two stars in their team, they have two paths to take in this race. First one is going for Jasper Philipsen. Then you don't want the race to be hard. You want Philipsen to survive all those cobbles, and I'm sure that he can do it and then win in the velodrome. But with Tadej Pogačar, Mats Pedersen and Visma Lease bike in this race, it's going to be mighty hard to control the peloton like that. So they need to have Mathieu van der Poel covering all the moves. Yes, Mathieu van der Poel is probably the top favorite by the bookies to win this race, but he needs to be on the defensive throughout the day, just covering attacks and hoping that Philipsen can help him by being the safety net in the peloton. Then, only then, maybe in the Sector 4 Carrefour del Arbor can Mathieu van der Poel try and break away from the peloton. Easier said than done, but on the slippery cobbles, Mathieu van der Poel has the great advantage over almost everyone in the peloton. Maybe only Wout van Aert can come close, but I still think that bike handling skills of Mathieu van der Poel are second to none. That is his advantage. The cornering there he will save a lot of power and energy, and then on the final hard sector, Carrefour del Arbor, I expect him to launch his attack and try to get away from the peloton. Will he do it? I am not sure. This is such a chaotic race to predict, probably the most unpredictable race of the season, but I think that on Carrefour del Arbor, Mathieu van der Poel will be in the front group, and I think that that is where he will launch his main attack. Will he succeed? I don't know. That is why we will watch on Sunday. And we need to talk about Tadej Pogačar and his team, UAE Team Emirates. Here, this is not Tour de Flanders. There are no hills where Pogačar can just eat 30 seconds or even a minute over breakaway on those hills. There he just focused on dropping Mathieu van der Poel. Here it is much bigger task. He needs to drop everyone. Wout van Aert, yes, he lost a bit of punch. He lost even a bit of sprint, but that guy has a massive engine, and over those cobbles, he is a hard guy to drop. Mats Pedersen flying this season, not on the level of Pogačar or Van der Poel on the climbs, but on the cobbles, I think he's there. Stefan Koch, Filip Ogana, another two riders to look at. So a mighty task of Pogačar to handle this, but he needs to use team tactics. Vermeers, Nils Politt, Valens, they need to be with him at least until Mons-en-Pévèle. They need to survive Arenberg, then they can attack, maybe even on asphalt sectors. We know that in Paris-Roubaix asphalt sectors can be maybe even as important as the cobbled ones, because everyone is tired after the cobbles and then you launch the winning move. If UAE has the numbers, then I can see them breaking Mathieu van der Poel and Jasper Philipsen, but without the help, Pogačar, no way to win this race. He just, I think, can't drop Mathieu van der Poel or even Wout van Aert on his own over those cobbles. That is too big of a task for Pogačar. But this guy, he keeps surprising everyone. I just don't see how he can win this race, but I know in his mind he knows it, and it is hard for me to see it, but I can't wait for Sunday and to see what he has prepared for this race. And Visma Lease bike. They are back. They are back in business. We saw in Tour of Flanders they had the best tactics, always in the front, always attacking, playing the numbers game. Here they have a slightly weaker squad, but they are all in for Wout van Aert. I think they will try to attack and every possible chance they get, maybe even create echelons. They have a great team with Affini, Brennan. I can see even Wout van Aert going here to the end in a front group. Can he win in a sprint? That's hard to tell, but he has a great chance of winning this race. Final guy I want to talk a bit more in detail is Mats Pedersen. He dedicated his whole, I think, year, maybe even life, to winning a monument, and he has the best chance in Paris-Roubaix, especially if it rains. his main focus should be not to get dropped, always to be in the front group. If he comes to the velodrome in the front group, I think he wins the sprint. Even against Philipsen, against Van der Poel, Van Aert, Pogačar, I am backing Mats Pedersen in a 260 kilometers long race over the mud. Mats Pedersen is my pick. Just stay in the front, cover the moves. If he has some help from Stuyven or Jonathan Milan or Dan Ule, it would be amazing. But I'm afraid he will be on his own, at least after Mons-en-Pavel. The biggest task is don't get dropped, cover the moves, be in the front. You have a great chance to fulfill your dreams, Masks. And before we take a closer look at Bookmaker's odds in detail, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It really helps. This channel is not monetized. I haven't earned a single dollar from these previews. All previews are done just out of pure love for cycling. So thank you for subscribing, and let's talk about the odds. Mathieu van der Poel is the top favorite at 2.75. Yes, I can see why that is. Tadej Pogačar at 5. I think these are just too short odds for Tadej in this race. Wout van Aert at 6 is okay alongside Mats Pedersen. Like I said, he is my pick. In the rain, he gets extra watts. He can sprint like a madman. He wins this race for sure. If it comes to the if he comes to the velodrome in the front group, Filippo Ganna, I just don't see how he can win this race. I can see him coming in the front group, maybe second, third, fourth, but winning too hard. Philipsen, if he doesn't get dropped, then yes, of course he is a big favorite, but based on his form this season, I just don't see him winning. And then Stefan Kung, for sure in the top 10, I think, but how can Stefan Kung win this race? It is beyond imaginable for me. Jasper Stuyven, Jonathan Milan, Joshua Tarling, all the hard guys, just don't see them winning. Florian Vermeers, he is an interesting option if UAE Team Emirates don't work only for Pogačar, but they try to play the numbers game. Then I can see Florian Vermeers even winning this race if he gets in the right move. So that is all for this preview. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoy my comments about races. Subscribe, like I said. Have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.